Welcome, club coaches. Triple Crown Sports here. I'm CEO Kerry King, along here with Mike McGarrow from East Coast Baseball. Want to welcome you guys. We're going to go over some of the survey information that was released just this morning by about 200 different clubs have participated, and want to jump right into it and let you guys know where things stand in the U.S. Right here you see what state has answered this survey. Heavy Colorado. We did get a little more California and Missouri thanks to Otis and Kyle. And so I just kind of want to let you know that most of the country here on this is Colorado, California, Missouri's pretty heavy. We got Kansas, just to give you an idea of what kind of data this is coming from. And so the first real question here is how has the COVID-19 disease directly impacted your family, team? And for the most part, the numbers are pretty similar, but fewer people with this new list of different states involved actually have been affected. So the disease has not impacted me, has moved from back on May 20th when we asked you the same question, was at 39%, is actually now only 44% has not impacted. Another noteworthy from the previous May 20th is fewer people know someone with the disease, so it's gone down from 19 to 15%. Still a lot, about 27, 28% from May 20 to now as far as creating anxiety, mental or emotional stress due to the disease. And so still a lot of people affected, but not everybody. Question 3, how has COVID-19 impacted personal family finances? You look at this right here, no financial impact at 64%. That's actually gone better by 7%. It was at 57% last time, and so a little bit of improvement. And then when it comes to the struggling to pay for food or rent is actually up 2.5%. So that's not good to see. But overall, not a lot of impact on the ones that answered this survey. Go ahead, Mike.
So right now, it's your entire team practicing. So a little bit of a different question than the first survey or the survey before this, where it was small groups, if you were working out in small groups. And as you can see here, as a combined, it's up to roughly 90%. So 90% of you guys are out there practicing. I just passed a team practice in my neighborhood the other day. So you guys are doing a great job of figuring out and how to get out there. There's still 10% though that still needs to get back out on the field and get playing some ball. What date has been set for your organized competition or games in your state? So you can tell here competition has already started at 55% that we've had. We just played our first Colorado Youth Baseball League this past weekend up here in Fort Collins. We're currently having events out in Utah and Omaha right now. 10%, or roughly rounded up to 11, are playing June 20th. And then you jump all the way to July 4th, which will be here before we know it. Roughly 75% believe that you guys will be playing by then, which is up from the 52% from the previous survey we sent out. How many players have left or departed your current roster that can be attributed or relate directly to the COVID pandemic? So as you can see there, 79% none of you guys have lost any players. Roughly 15, rounded up to 16%, have lost one or two, and then 5% have lost 3 or 4 players. This is a good sign to know that players are sticking around and staying. It's just good to keep the core group together. Not everybody is on the same side of the fence, and just being understanding of when your team wants to get out and play.
I'll take this one, Mike. So which month is your schedule 100% set for the summer? And so basically what you're looking at is quite a bit of uncertainty here still. So if you ask someone 100% set for June, which, by the way, there's only 2 weeks left, only 35% of the teams know what's going on this month. Actually goes up. You know more about July than you do June. I think that's because some of the states are re-emerging, and we'll see some of that information a little bit later. And then so no month is 100% set. Half of you guys are saying that not a single month is figured out from here through August. How is your team planning to travel and how? I was just looking at our May 20th survey, and when it comes to the local events only, that's actually up 5%, so more people are planning to play. It looks like you could have selected multiple choices here, and so not only does the local events drive go up, but from May 20th, local events with overnight stays has gone up 3%. Regional with overnight has gone up 8%, so a little more people willing to get on the road. And then national events up from 13 to 16%, so a 3% increase there. And then the national with overnight plus a flight is only up 1%, only about 7% are planning to do that. What we asked in this next question is, what does the fall look like? And select which months you're going to play more ball. So as you can see, August is a time frame where most teams are indicating they're going to play more than the previous year. And then September being the second most. So August and September, if you're looking for more baseball, so are the teams. I mean, the other teams are looking for the same thing, and it's definitely a good idea to maybe think about extending your season. Last question on the survey. In your opinion, rank the order of who's in most control when it comes to returning to play. And it's still the governor. It's gone down 3%. This is right here. You see a 63% number. It was 66%, so it's gone down only 3%. And then if you cascade down, then you have the state health, then the county. It jumps right next to the city parks and rec have the next influence, then the city councils, and then finally parents and coaches have the least amount of control on when we return. If we could flip over to the PowerPoint, I want to go over a few more details on what's going on when it comes to open. And I think Mike's going to get us rolling here on this one.
Yeah, Kerry. So right now there's 27 states we believe that are open to play, and ones that we know for sure. Utah, as I mentioned, we have a pathway event going on out there right now. Colorado had our first youth baseball league event this past weekend. Montana, Wyoming to round out the West. With the middle part of the country, kind of the heartland of the country, we know the Texases, South Carolina for our summer nationals, and Myrtle Beach will be a go. Some that are anticipated to play: Alabama, Mississippi, Kentucky, Delaware, Missouri, New Jersey. And a lot of these, between these two categories, are with some stipulations. So, there are some county parks in Virginia that are opened up and they're playing ball. There are others that are not. So it really is a case-by-case basis on what the interpretation is by that local municipality. There's 12 that we're uncertain of when they're going to be open to play. So New York, obviously, being a hotbed, California, Oregon, Washington, and then some of the other states in the surrounding Northeast, as well as New Mexico. For our pathway events, 15s through 18s, Pathway Albuquerque has been moved to Utah. If you guys haven't followed that on social media out there, some beautiful fields, really good places to play out there. Should be a good venue for you. The new event that's going on right now is sold out at 40 teams. Pathway Virginia, which I have a part in, it should be a go July 15th through the 26th. I've talked with the Henrico Parks and Rec there, some of the other facilities, Legacy Park. We don't see any issues for that event. Pathway Colorado, July 21st through the 23rd, still a go here in northern Colorado, and Arizona, September 18th through the 21st should be set, as well as our new Louisiana event that we just added this year.
This one's me, Mike. I'll take it. So Mountain Magic in Colorado was a June event. Some of you guys followed the city council meeting in Steamboat Springs on Monday, and the city voted 7-0 at the city council level to not allow Triple Crown Sports in the city of Steamboat for 2020 due to COVID-19. And so Mountain Magic has canceled, and many other Colorado options are available. The Slump Busters actually started play yesterday at much smaller numbers, 19 teams from the forecasted 750. No College World Series equals a lot fewer teams. Already 143 teams have been transferred from the 20 event into 21, and so next year is going to be extra special, returning to the College World Series. With the World Series in Steamboat, obviously not allowed there, we are moving the event to Fort Collins, Colorado in the same dates. There's 2 sessions for Steamboat, July 22 and July 28 starts. And Fort Collins, great fields, whitewater. It's a very similar feel to a mountain community, but you have access close to the airport as it's only about an hour drive. We already playing in Fort Collins, so they are ready to go here as far as the fields, and should be open to tournament play by then. Out-of-state travelers, we're pinning a sports tournament variance that would have to be approved by Larimer County. I did not get information today, but we're planning to get in the next 5 or 6 business days on what's going on there. So by about next Wednesday, we'll know about that variance. Park City World Series looks good to go. 4 spots are left, and we're on track. Summer Nationals in Myrtle, July 14th through the 26th with open spots, on track. And then the Las Vegas Fall Nationals seem like miles away. September 26th, it's still on track for play.
So for some of our series events, Colorado, as I talked about earlier, we started our new league called the CYBL, short for Colorado Youth Baseball League, which is going to be each weekend from last weekend till September 5th. No playoffs or championships at the moment, local area, but even though there's still no local, or playoffs or championships, the way the Colorado guys formatted it is that there is still a point system, there are still standings, and that makes every game matter a little bit more because you have to play to win every single time you're out. We applied to 9 different counties for a variance to be able to run a tournament rather than a league with travelers. California, we're hopeful for July 11th through 12th for a return to play. Arizona, Prescott plus Flagstaff Labor Day, September 5th. It's a newly added event. Missouri, we're hopeful for July 9th through the 12th at Legacy Park, Lee Summit, or in August. Tennessee, the Big South Regional Championships, July 3rd through the 6th. John just got confirmation that is good to go and on track. We do have some spots left there in the 10s and 12s. Texas, SummerSlam's been rescheduled for August 28th through the 30th. On track, and we still have a lot of openings for you guys to jump in there. Virginia, as you guys may recognize me, the Capital City Invitational has been moved to August 29th and 30th. Same thing, Henrico County, Legacy Park has been great. I do have some openings there in the 14s. We added a 15-year-old age group since that's kind of a funky time of year to allow kids to move up to that 15-year-old age group. Nevada, we actually added an event in Mesquite for 11 or 12-year-old play, July 9th through the 12th or July 16th through the 19th, pending approval. What we're really trying to do, as a lot of you might know, the Cooperstown has been canceled this year, so trying to build a memorable experience for you guys, especially the West Coast or western side of the United States, your teams. And then I just got confirmation for our Virginia State Championships. It will now be the Fall State Championships, September 26th and 27th. Got confirmation that we have the McReynolds Complex there in Yorktown, as well as some other surrounding fields locked in for those dates, given that the state of Virginia is in phase 3 by that time.
College Sports Evaluation is a new business that Triple Crown spun off at the beginning of 2020. And it's a one-day measurement or evaluation event for 14s through 18s. It's actually not games. In the next 4 weeks, you see just these events that are popped up in Temecula, College Station, Surprise, and Grapevine. This is a great way to be seen by NAI and JUCO right now. We're looking at streaming options for D1 and D2 for the July dead period where you don't have coaches permitted to travel at this point. And we'll be recommending to all our own Triple Crown. We have our own teams at Triple Crown for incoming juniors and seniors to do it. Also our unsigned graduates as they miss their moment. So go to csseval.com to get some more information on another way to be seen this summer. Mike, you want to do this one?
Yep. So the Triple Crown teams and college recruiting, as you guys know, we run our own Triple Crown teams here. I think it's 2 baseball and 6 softball total. I can speak for the baseball side of things. I coached a lot of those kids last year, so we can, especially myself, I've been on the same side of the fence as you guys as coaches and figuring out, what to do during these crazy times. So our plan here, instead of running a full-on tryout, since we have a limited number of teams or smaller teams anyway, probably just try to add some kids that might be interested, still put them through a workout, and add them to the roster instead of making all the kids from this past summer's roster try out again. Our fall schedule is going to be within a drive radius with some overnight stays, trying to be cognizant with, jumping on an airplane and going out to Florida or Georgia. Everything's going to be drive radius, and this is just what we're doing with our program here. College placement right now, I'm sure a lot of you are well aware, it's more difficult than ever, especially this summer and probably this fall if we're being realistic with it. We're just really encouraging our players to have video ready to send out to college coaches of their mechanics, of their swing, of some in-game at-bats or on the bump, so college coaches can at least have a chance to see them somewhat remotely. D1, so right now we kind of talked about this a little bit, Carrie. D1s are in a dead period up until July 31st, so they really can't do anything, can't get off campus. D2s right now are in a quiet period, meaning they can work as a camp if it's instruction, but they cannot be out on the road to recruit. D3, from the NCAA standpoint, doesn't necessarily have bans, but a lot of these guys, it'll really be dependent on what each college campus is telling them. As a lot of, we may or may not know, campuses are shut down. They're not allowing their coaches, even though the NCAA, for a D3 school, you might be allowed to go down, but the college itself is limiting that travel for those coaches, whether it's due to budget cuts, whether it's due to COVID, whether it's due to 14-day quarantine. So don't let that July 31st completely scare you. The D2s and D3s, NAIs and JUCOs will still be in Richmond and at some of our events working. Like I said, there's a difference between working as a camp and also recruiting. 14 and younger teams will stay in their local league and choices here in our tournaments. All the travel for our teams will be covered by the parents. So I know some programs lump that into their player fees, but right now all of that is going to be covered by parents for gas, if we do end up staying in a hotel room somewhere.
Our Triple Crown baseball teams are at our core. Sports organizers and programs like Triple Crown, we have our own teams here, are extremely challenged. Sports organizers that run events are challenged. Anybody that's around sports right now is not in a good place. Just Triple Crown Sports to do a micro look into us, forecasting a 50% revenue decline in 2020. So it's going to be a lot of stress, financially be very strenuous for us and our staff for 6 to 18 months. And we're seeing that with a lot of the different organizers. Financial support from our parents for our own internal teams has increased. And so Mike mentioned the travel scenario. You're definitely going to see the parents shouldering a little bit more of the travel cost in 20 and probably 21 as well. And our TC baseball teams have been deemed essential. We haven't shut them off. We continue to invest time and money because it's our best way to learn what the marketplace is missing. Just on a personal note, sports save lives. There's research out there. I'm an example of it. And just getting these kids out there, Mike, is number one. And, Triple Crown's done a lot in the past to work through weather navigations. This pandemic navigation reminds me of the longest weather problem I've ever seen. And, the next right thing to do, in our opinion, is to play and play safely, and we're continued down that path to try and find a way. Mike, being part of our teams, anything to add to this element?
I would just say, guys, as coaches and as a coach myself, we preach to our kids a lot that, control what you can control, don't worry about the uncontrollables, and as stressful and anxiety building that COVID-19 has caused not only us in the sports industry and as a baseball family across the country, but everybody in the entire world is, make sure you're practicing what you preach to your kids, control what you can control, be proactive with your families. It's really easy, to to say, hey, like, it's a lot easier for me to just pack it up this year. We'll figure it out later down the road. That's the easy way out. There's always a way that I think you can figure out something you can do, whether it's Zoom call, and we've seen a lot of that with a lot of the programs and organizations that I personally work with on the East Coast, is figuring out Zoom calls, different drills and lessons, and just keeping it going. Just because it's harder, as a lot of you know, or probably older than I am, life doesn't get any easier whenever you get older. You work hard on something, and then the next thing pops up that's going to be harder, and that's how we grow. So just keep that in the back of your minds. It's these are obviously tough, but we can get through it together.
The Play Sports Coalition is a brand new 2-month-old entity that its mission is to ensure youth sports survives and thrives into the future. It's got 3,800 sports organizations that are members. A lot of the baseball clubs jumped on there early. Triple Crown Sports is a co-chair seat, and we're helping to lead the steering committee. I personally meet with this group every single day, and we do have a success story to tell. We have a bill, HR 6912, for COVID-19 Youth Sports and Working Families Relief Act. It's got 12 co-sponsors. It's just been 1 week out, led by Representative Max Rose, a Democrat out of New York. What it is a forgivable loan program, or a portion of the dollars are forgivable for these sports organizations. It also does some great things for families by expanding child and dependent care tax credits to include individual and team sports, fitness and exercise, and other rec activities. So if the money you spend on that is tax deductible. And you can also use your HSA and FSA accounts if you have those, and the increased distribution from $5,000 to $10,000. Call your local representative if you think this is something good for your sports community. We can't do it alone when it comes to reaching out to your representative. If we're not from Washington, D.C., or we're not from Duluth, you got to make that call. So Play Sports Coalition is the place to find your representative information. Summary suggestions: be more cautious than last year. Take the appropriate risk, but don't put your team at risk. Create new rules for large team family gatherings, fewer informal moments together, barbecues, drinks. Think through that stuff, because I see it happening in Fort Collins. After the game, the team's hungry to come together and also hungry to eat some food. And just be cognizant there's still a COVID-19 going on out there. Find a way to practice and play. Almost everybody's doing that, 90% of us. Call your county health department, city manager if you want to play more ball. Get your voice heard. Travel closer to home than you did last year. Wear your mask if you're forced. It's better than nothing. We don't have any mask restrictions right now in any Triple Crown Sports baseball tournament. You do not have to wear masks at the Triple Crown events. It is optional in all the states we're open. And so if you're forced to wear it at some point, I think it's better than nothing. And stay home if you're sick. Wash your hands frequently. You guys have heard that 1,000 times by now. And the one thing is to be the willow, not the pine this year. Meaning the willow branch can handle 90-mile-an-hour winds for an hour, where the oak tree snaps at the base. And COVID-19 has created a lot of room for flexibility, and those that have stayed strong, like the oak tree, have some of those things have broke for people. Your schedule is going to change over and over. We see that only 50% of the teams have a clue what their whole schedule looks like. Parents understand they're under tremendous pressure right now. Athletes, allowing more movement back and forth from your team, possibly other teams if they have an opportunity. And coaches, your work is more meaningful than ever. You're at this great moment where athletes fail, and you're the first one they intercept. And your job, your work is more. I'm more proud than ever of the coaches that are still going through this, and it's very meaningful. We are truly in this thing together. Be conscientious and respectful of others and their opinions. Some aren't ready for ball, some are. At Triple Crown Sports, you have our commitment. We are trying to find our way to play ball as fast as we can. Thank you very much, Mike, and thank you, audience, for joining us. And we wish you guys much luck as you navigate your seasons. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.